Oh, there we go. Nothing like, that professionalism. People are like, what the hell was that all about? You know what? Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. That's all I have to say. Don't pay attention to him. Disregard that. There is no man behind the curtain. Ha 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 ha. So, welcome to the Red Pill News. Welcome to life. Welcome to your life and everything in between. You know, people write me a lot and they say, "You're a freak. Why are you on the radio, Ron?" No, they ask questions. They're like, what's the meaning of life and all this other stuff. And you know, it's to each his own, really. I mean, we all have our own meaning, and I'm gonna say it like this. This is the way I learned. I learned it. I learned it. This is the way I understand it anyway. What was conveyed to me by my creators and my planet, which is far, far away, which I miss very much. I'll say it like this, seriously. You want to know the meaning of life? Life, the meaning of life is gaining skills and learning to love. It's actually or giving that unconditional love. Which is very difficult to do. But think about it this way: you could be a great chef, right? And have a huge kitchen to cook in. You got it all going on and make the best stuff. But do you think that same person can't, cook an amazing meal over a campfire? Or you could take the best driver, right? Somebody who can drive the fastest, best handling vehicles that are out there and whatever. Do you think that you can't put them in an average vehicle and they wouldn't use their skills still to drive? So I mean, no matter what you do, you have your skills. If you're a great musician, it doesn't and that doesn't matter what you play. If you're a great musician, don't you think that person can pick up any instrument and make it work for them and make beautiful music out of it? So all of these things come from within. These skills come from within, and you learn, you make them, you improve them, you get better. And yeah, you may die and go on and you can become back and whatever. You think that you don't have those skills? What do you think these 5 year olds get off playing a violin or a piano like they've been doing it for 50 years? I mean, you think that just happened? They got kicked in the head with it by a mule and then all of a sudden they have these amazing abilities. It doesn't happen like that. These things you carry with you no matter. So, and same for bad. The people with the bad habits, the people who do the bad thing, and the addictions and all that other stuff. Don't you think that's gonna also be carried over? So it's best to focus on the skills. If you're a great writer, then be that great writer. If you're that great chef, be the great chef. If you're a great whatever, doesn't matter. It's you. It's what your abilities are. Is what you're prone to do, or it's what it's what you levitate towards in life. And then you have to find the purity within all those things. You have to find that bit of life that's going to spark for you, so you don't feel like you have a meaningless existence. You know what I mean? I was watching I guess it was the last James Bond. It's called No Time to Die. I didn't know the guy died. I really don't watch them because I think I mean, some of them are cool. This last James Bond, the one that died, he's cool. I think he was in there for a long time. But I don't know. They've gotten very political, and we moved away from entertainment, and everything's got to have a statement now. It can't just be bubblegum for the brain to watch something that doesn't say anything. You don't want to get involved in people's BS. Everybody's got an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but nobody wants to hear from it, really. So it really comes down to the person and what you get out of life. And like for me, if I seek entertainment, what you know, getting away from like cable TV and all those commercials, they make you feel a certain way, and not in a good way either. They're designed to do what they do. Keep in mind, everything is all that stuff is. This just doesn't. It's not naturally occurring. It doesn't happen by accident. So they want you to really be just under control, and they want to put the thoughts in your head. They don't want you to have original thoughts, original ideas. That moves into a better society, doesn't it, when people want more rights for themselves, and not like rights that kind of go in the land of, really, are you serious? I'm talking about basic human rights. Just to, how about just to be left alone? Left alone to live your life and do your thing and not be told what to do. How many of these Hollywood stars are out there, just clap trapping all kinds of stuff of what they think and this, that, and whatever, and they all get so political, and they just basically call you a buffoon. And how about the ones, Bette Midler and those other two twits who got together to denounce the Fourth of July? They denounced the Fourth of July on the very same day you had some psycho go out there and shoot people at a Fourth of July parade. And this guy's all types of messed up. And they're screaming, "We need more laws." Let me tell you, the laws were in place. They had the red flag laws. He was deemed dangerous. To presented a clear and present danger. He waltzed right in and passed background checks and bought guns. The laws were in place. They weren't. They, you know what? They weren't enforced. Is the problem? And the guy was a nut. The guy was a nut. As soon as I see a face tattoo and a neck tattoo, I automatically know what I'm dealing with. And that's my way of profiling people. If some guy paints his hair pink, I know what I'm dealing with. I know exactly. I got somebody on drugs here. You know what I mean? I got somebody who's gonna act out and maybe lose their minds. Oh man, people are losing it. They're really losing it. They're coming unraveled because there's no voice of common sense or reason out there, except here at the Red Pill News, of course, of course, of course. Elsewhere, no. You got a lot of people fighting each other. They don't even know why the hell they're mad. They don't even know what their outrage is all about. And for Bette Midler, who was so successful here, all these people who are speaking out are uber successful in the United States of America. Uber successful in the United States of America. These people have yachts. I went down, I think I talked about it last week. I looked at this list, like, of the top 100 celebrities or yachts, and who they, the most expensive yachts, and who they belong to. You know who they belong to? They don't belong to me and you, I guess. They belong to, or maybe you're on the yacht right now listening to me laughing. You know what they belong to? People who are telling you what to do. People who have an interest in commanding your life and telling you what to do. They want to be your master. Well, you know what? They're actors, they're musicians, they're monkey grinders. Do just play the show. If I like it, I'll check it out. If I don't, I won't. I don't care what your politics are. Oh man, when people spout off at me sometimes, especially on social, antisocial, socialist media, and you tell them, this one lady wrote me this big long thing. I didn't even read it. I read the first line and the last line. That's kind of how I've learned to do that in certain situations now, where the content doesn't matter anymore. First line, as soon as I realized that she had a stick up her kazoo, I knew that where that was going to go. It was all about Hillary Clinton, like, and denouncing me because I was against Hillary Clinton and whatever. Really funny too. So at the end of this thing, I responded. I said, "Thanks for watching. I don't care what you think." Oh, she was like, how dare you not care what I think? That's the people out there. They want to be the center. They want the spotlight on them. They want the voice. They want to tell you their opinion. They want to voice their opinion. It doesn't matter what you think. The only thing that matters, and this is really it right here, the only thing that matters is daily survival. And that's it. And people's opinions don't put dollars in your pockets. People's opinions don't promote your happiness in your life. In fact, it's all negative, man. It's always people griping about negativity. I don't care. Tell me about something you like. Tell me about some good chocolate that you had lately or something. Something I can, I'm a foodie. I can food relate to. I don't care what your stinking opinions are. Make me a pizza. I'll eat a pizza. I don't care. But yet these Bette Midler, whatever. You know what? She is part of the problem right there. All of them. They're all part of the problem. Go and do what the hell you do. Go make your craft. Whatever the hell you do, go do it. But leave people out of it. Leave your stinking opinions out of it, because you're trying to shape and form, use your power positions to shape and form people. The best celebrities are the ones that keep their mouths shut. You hardly ever hear of out loud of them, George Clooney, he was talking crap for a while. You know what he realized? Oh, some terrorists tried to kill him and his wife. He realized it's time to stop talking crap. There's a certain moment where you just because his wife is like a lawyer for terrorist wives or whatever, and hey man, the guy's fighting the battle. I kind of like George Clooney. He didn't get married until like really late in life. He was like a happy horse out there in the sunshine, jumping around, like being the stallion, kind of cool. It For a lot of guys out there, they like that. you know, they don't like the ones that get sucked into stuff and all of a sudden you see them completely destroyed. And I mean completely destroyed. There are relationships that will take you down like a wrestling match, take you down. You're knocked the F out, you know? You lose everything, including your dignity, man. These dudes, who's that other guy? Like, I think he still isn't married. And it all comes down, it really all comes down to your level of happiness and where you think you should be. Some people are happy in those situations. Some people are unhappy not in those situations. So it's the individual, right? But we like George Clooney. George Clooney's not telling you what to do. And when he started, it didn't work out for him. And there's a few people that really don't get into it, right? You don't hear from them, because they realize that that's not good for the box office. You're going to alienate half the group out there, you know. You're going to alienate half your audience. Why would you want to do that? They're paying to see you. So just give them material they can have fun with, and even politics, man. Someone's always going to grind on politics. And, some of these comedians, if they can call them that, I don't even know where comedians are anymore. You know, I think that they're afraid to be funny, and you can't be. You just have to go there and do your thing. Wear a bulletproof vest, arm yourself. Biggest get some bodyguards. That'd be funny as hell. Comedians with bodyguards. That's funny. But you know what? It's like true. It's true. Because there's people that are freaks and they get the green light. They think that just because they're slightly offended or whatever, or maybe they've got their fake outrage going on, that they can go and hurt that person. They turn into like that blind dog rage, rabid dog. Arr, and look at Dave Chappelle. I mean, a few people, he's been vilified because he made a few jokes about transvestites and whatever. He's a comedian, and you got to be able to laugh. You got to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at other things that you're going to find funny. Was it derogatory? Did he incite violence against these people? Or, I mean, when I think of the bounds of free speech, you're talking about inciting riots or talking about, I mean, all the stuff that politicians do, basically. I mean, I've heard a lot of them, especially on the left, incite violence against others and tell people, including Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all the top dogs in their party, how do they justify that? Chuck Schumer included, telling people to go after the Supreme Court justices. Oh, because you don't like a decision in a duly elected court, a Supreme Court, a top court. You don't like a decision, so you're going to threaten violence, and you're just some crappy politician, you know? So that's the problem. That's one of the problems. One of the problems. I was reading an article about the Catholic Church in Brooklyn, right? There was a Catholic church. They lost this $2 million tabernacle, and they're offering 50,000 to get it back. It's just like them too. Here's 50 grand. You know what? The very fact that a church has something worth $2 million in a neighborhood full of poor people shows you what the problem is, doesn't it? And that's not the only thing that they have. You have all the gold and jade and jewels and all the diamond encrusted this and whatever. Oh, Jesus Christ didn't even have a mule. If you want to get technical, got some sandals, you know. but they don't care. They don't care about him or that or what. They don't base themselves. That's the lie they tell people. But then you see how they're living. Olstein, that guy, and all the other Creflo A. Dollar with the private planes and the big mansions and all this stuff. How do they justify that? You're not you're not selling a product. You're not making jeans. You're not providing housing for people. You're not doing anything. You're giving people your interpretation of something that they should be interpreting for themselves. The meaning is inside of you. You don't need the books. You just need you, and look inside yourself and understand what that is. Not these people. In fact, the Bible talks about these people. They're called false prophets, you know, and ultimately it doesn't work out too well for them. Maybe in this realm, they're the rich and famous, aren't they? They're the ones with all the big voices. I know Olstein's church when that Texas had that disaster, and there were thousands of people homeless and looking for a place. They stopped them at the gates. That the place was built to hold 10,000 people in a disaster. He got extra funding for that. You know, I mean they're all they are what they are. They are what they are. You got to look at the hair because God doesn't like ugly, and they all have bad hair. I really think that that's kind of the telltale sign. I said about the pink hair. The same thing goes for these religious people. You ever see that Benny Hinn guy? He's got a hair helmet going on. So it comes down to who they can fool with their forked tongue, right? Anyway, Brittany Griner. I'm gonna move along. Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner. So Brittany Griner, of course, is a basketball player who went to go play in the Russian league, and this is funny. It's actually really funny. So she goes into Russia with drugs, right? Under the top 10 things and what not to do in Russia, going into any foreign country, unless they truly really tolerate it, and even that they don't like you bringing stuff in. You don't smuggle drugs into Russia. So she had her little vape pen, and I think it had whatever opium, whatever the hell was in there, or just some kind of hash oil, right? So I guess it wasn't even all that much, but hey, you're smuggling drugs into Russia. They got it. They have an axe to grind to the United States of America. And it becomes this thing. She went there to go play in the Russian league since her season was over, so she was just going there to play with them and that type of thing. And then today she pleaded guilty on bringing the stuff in, obviously, since it was on her person and the whole bit. And then she's looking at 10 years hard time. I mean, that's in Russia, 10 years. That's not like a nice toasty American prison. 10 years, right? And 99.9% of people are like convicted in Russia. So it's one of those places that has a really high conviction rate because they just see they like putting people in jail and whatever. They're not looking for the truth. They're just looking for the conviction, right? Anyway, but she did it, and she's guilty, right? She threw herself on the mercy of the court. I find it interesting that she wrote a letter to Biden saying, "Oh, Biden, I'm here. I'm an American, and you're the president. I know you don't have a lot of time. He doesn't have a lot of time. That's all he's got is time, you know." But the funny part is, this is the same woman that not that long ago, protested the national anthem. She didn't want to. She was denouncing America. She didn't want to sing the national or even put her hand over her for the national anthem, right? And it's just interesting now how she's kind of like, "Oh, help me, help me, help me." There's irony for you. It really is, man. There's irony for you, and there's a lot of people like smiling, shaking their heads, yes, because she's getting her just dessert for turning her back on her country and acting like, hey, like the whole take a knee thing. You take a knee for your protest, but they didn't allow people to take a knee for the prayer. And that just goes to show you how screwed up things are. People want to pray, let them pray. What do you care? You know, they let Muslim people pray during their work schedules, and they go out and they go to the temple and whatever the hell they this that, and whatever, man. But they dissect society. If you're this religion, you can do this. If you're that religion, you can't do that. I remember it in school back in the day. There was people that had prayer groups and whatever, and they go and do their business, and they all had their groups within groups. It was kind of weird, actually. So, but I like learning all about different things, different places, different religions, different types of backgrounds, and different cultures. That's part of what life is all about, is understanding others, and we're not all that far apart, you know. But now you have a segment of society that really, they're so primitive, and I mean, they look for other people who are primitive. They play to a primitive bone, and they talk Hillary's deplorables, right? How she tapped on that very horrible thing to say about people, really, and generalizing, But that's what they do, right? Anyway, but there are people out there that function on a certain level, and to talk to them, you have to apply yourself to that level. And a lot of these politicians do that, And what are they doing, really? They're not really, conveying a message of representation. It's more about the emotion behind what they're saying, right? So, all right, about the Georgia Guidestones. Uh, so there's these Guidestones. They just got blown up. This is what we'll talk about. Like yesterday, there's these Guidestones that appeared in Georgia, 1980. Apparently, nobody's really claimed uh, like building them, putting them together. They really dumb it down, calling it America's Stonehenge, which is a horrible thing to say because we have Indian monuments and Indian developments that go back thousands and thousands of years. 12,000 years, 13,000 years, at the end of the ice age, and they're going to point to some crapola in Georgia that somebody put together in 1980, calling it a Stonehenge. So I'm offended by that. That's my fake outrage. All right. I'll read you the story. The hunt is still on in Georgia for the suspects who authorities say damaged the mysterious Guidestones monument in an explosion, which some online conspiracy theorists have called it an act of God. This is how primitive people are. It was an act of God. And I'm going to tell you why. They're not going to tell people. The mainstream media is not even talking about this, really. They're only like bits and pieces of it, but I had to go to England to find out what was going on here. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the GBI, told reporters that the preliminary information suggests someone used an explosive device to damage the pillars on Wednesday morning. Right? A large portion of the structure was damaged, and one part was completely destroyed, leading to the full demolition of the granite structure. In CCTV footage released by authorities, a car is seen near the monument shortly after the explosion. No suspects have been identified or found. Well, people say it's God, right? Was God driving that silver car? God had have a Toyota. Despite being erected in 1980, the Guidestones are sometimes called America's Stonehenge and consist of 6 granite slabs, each with an inscription in a different language. They have long been the subject of conspiracy theorists. It's not known yet whether they will be rebuilt. Well, first of all, nobody knows who built them to begin with, so to speak, right? And for this type of explosion, I don't know. If you drilled a hole in one of those suckers and stuck a stick of dynamite in there, you probably get something like that. Or, I doubt you can just apply something to the surface and really let it blow. I know I've blown things up in my life. I used to shoot fireworks professionally. I've blown things up. I know how things go, but only in a professional sense, of course, and experimental needs. So I don't know. All right, here we go. So the slabs contain mysterious guidelines for human conservation. And now people are talking like, "Ooh!" So this is the deal. This is a twisty turny story, right? The mysterious Georgia Guidestones. Let's see. The monument was targeted in the early hours, and we talked about that. They're granite slabs. So granite's not concrete. Concrete can fall apart pretty easily. Granite, you're gonna have a harder time uh, getting that to blow apart. You know what I mean? You can take a blowtorch and burn a hole in granite pretty easily, believe it or not, and kind of like I know people who are local where I am in quarries that do this rock art, and they use like these torches to heat them up and kind of chip them away. Really cool stuff. So anyway, but they blew it up. On to which, all right, so they inscribed a list of 10 instructions for the conservation of humanity, an event of apocalyptic event. So the guy stones couldn't last through a little explosion, let alone apocalyptic event. The guy stones were erected in 1980, and they stood as an oddity in a field in Elberton, Georgia, ever since. And let's see. I'm going to actually tell you what the guide stones say. And so it was vilified by a local politician there. She's running for office, and she said that they're satanic. So we're getting back to the roots of primitive, right? And let's see, the guy stone. All right, and let's see. So Katie McCarthy, a conspiracy theory researcher for the Anti-Defamation League, said in an interview with NPR that the anonymity of the person or group who commissioned the Georgia Guidestones has also contributed to wild claims about the granite structure. That given the Guidestones a sort of shroud of mystery. And of course, when you have stuff like that, people start going crazy. And let's see, built in 1980 by a person or group under the synonym RC Christian, should have been JC, right? JC Christian. The monument contains inscriptions about humanity, civilization, and other lessons. It also acts as a sundial and clock. So, all right, let me get down to the important part here. All right. And then, of course, they said it was act of God. The demolition of the roadside granite monument was also seen as followers of the Quanon, the conspiracy theory point to their allegedly satanic nature. One man posting on Twitter pointed out that the guy stones were exactly 66678 miles from the UN headquarters in New York City before adding, "This is not a coincidence." I was buying something the other day with 668. What am I supposed to do? Say, the devil, run away. Devil ain't gonna pay that 666. Alex Jones, a more well-known nut, meanwhile, said seeing the stones destroyed made him happy on an animal level, although he ultimately disagreed with their destruction. He believes they must stand as a reminder that the Illuminati is out there pulling strings. So as soon as something happens, all the freaks and all the doors, door number one, door number two, door number three, all the doors open up and they all come out. You remember you ever see that Resident Evil, the first movie? Awesome movie, right? When they cut the power to get to the computer and it opened up all the doors where all the zombies were and they all started coming out at once. That's what's going on here. Is zombies made the guy happy on the animal level. You know what makes me happy? Good coffee. Really, man, this coffee's good. You know that? I could care less. You'll blow something up. That's nuts, man. The Illuminati. Who even talks about them anymore? Exactly. They've gotten themselves out of there. Let's see. Oh, he said, Alex Jones, of course. He said, we need that evil edifice there as a confession letter led by a consortium. Ah! Oh my God. Here we go. All right. So A GOP candidate says vandalism is illegal, responding to reports of her criticism and claims about the Georgia Guidestones. GOP gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor said in a video on Wednesday that she wanted the monument to be demolished without any vandalism. I wanted to kill it, but do it legally, not illegally. I believe vandalism. I'll say it like that. I believe vandalism. Wait. Let me get. Where's she from? Georgia. Let me get my Georgia. Like I got like molasses coming out of my mouth. I believe vandalism is illegal, and sometimes people like to call vandalism instead of actually giving God credit because they don't know how to explain what happens when God moves. Miss Taylor said. She continued by saying that she still, I believe that the damage to the stones, which she has labeled as satanic, was an act of God. So this woman's running for governor of Georgia, right? Governor of Georgia, and she's saying it's satanic. So why do you think all these people think it's satanic? Why do you think that all these people are going? Must have said something pretty freaking heinous to evoke Satan, and she serves Satan. I got news for you, honey. Candace Taylor. You're the devil's handmaiden. You're the one spreading all of this stuff, you know? If it was satanic, you're such a simpleton. No offense. Or yes, offense. An act of God. Oh my gosh. Babies act God. You're blowing stuff up. That's more something on the other side. What do they call that? Michael the Archangel, something like that. One of those archangels, man. They like to blow stuff up. So she's like, all right. She continues. So until I see a video that shows me anything that what looks like lightning or the hand of God moving on the situation, I'm going to believe it was God. I felt the same way when I ordered a bucket of chicken, 12 pieces, and they gave me 14. I was like, that was an act of God. Sometimes God takes from you, sometimes God gives you chicken. You know what I mean? That's more of a valid feeling than what this nut job is talking about. They need to like examine her. She's running for political office. Imagine having that as a governor. Ugh. Okay, let's get let us continue. So we know. Let's see. The owners of Alberton Granite Finishing Company, which was commissioned to build the slabs, said that an anonymous man approached him with a plan to build the monument in 1979. And that man was Hunter Biden. That's right. He said that the individual claimed the monument was meant to act as a compass, calendar, and a clock that could withstand catastrophic events. Apparently not. Apparently, if it came, a little explosive, whatever they used. So the company claimed to try to discourage the man from pursuing the project. And who owns the land? Come on, man. In 1980, the monument was completed, and people were suspicious ever since. And we know that. But let's see. And they listed on here before. You know, I think that people are crazy. And basically, you have all these people who now the nut jobs are coming out, who of course, like they want to kind of, everybody's got their thing to say, I guess, but it was just some things that somebody built, and I'm looking actually for what was written on there. because they had it listed and now it's gone. Bastards, bastards. So Guidestones. I'm gonna find it somewhere else. The power of the internet, man. But you know what? It stinks because this just shows you how people are crazy, you know. And so when it came to the Satanism thing, let's see. I was like, what the hell do these things say? that that is like they're pointing to Satan because Satan's a very special thing. It's not for everybody, when it comes to sayings. Satan's not coming out with sayings like, all right, the languages are in Arabic, Chinese, English, Hebrew, Hindi, Russian, Spanish, Swahili. All right. All right. This is what they say: the 10 principles for mankind, like the 10 commandments that were inscribed on the monument. Maintain humanity under 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature. I don't disagree with that, me personally. I think we've well past that, and now we're seeing the effects of overpopulation in the world, right? Bad air, bad food, this, that, whatever, less this, less that, less clean water. I just read about how the world's freshwater supply is kind of evaporating at a higher rate, and there's all kinds of things going on. But more people, less resources, right? It's not the other way around. So I wouldn't disagree. Is that Satanism? No, doesn't sound like Satanism to me. It says guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. So make yourself better, diverse. You get together with hands across the sea and all that type of stuff, right? That doesn't sound like Satan. That sounds like you know, someone's idea of what you should do is what it is. Unite humanity with a living new language. One language for the whole planet. Earth Earthling call it, you know what I mean? So you got that too. Is that Satanism? The Bible talks about the mark of the beast and all that other stuff, and I think that we've seen that in the computer age. It has nothing to do with these stones. How about another one? Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. So you know what? I can see how that the hardcore religious fanatics wouldn't like a sentence like that because that really interferes with their brainwashing, right? Rule passion, faith, and tradition, all things with tempered reason. Use reasoning and stuff, really? Humans? I don't see a lot of that, so I don't think we have to worry. But protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Oh my God, that's demonic right there. That's Satan, man. Satan, Satan, Satan. Smells like the devil. It sounds like Beelzebub. Sounds like Lucifer, man. Sounds like they're all in court. Purgatory. Nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Oh, can't have that. Then you got to hold people accountable for stuff. Bag that. That only works for little third world countries that can't defend themselves. Countries with no nukes. They're the ones who kind of get left out of that. All right. Here's another one. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Oh, so they're cutting the balls off of politicians, Useless officials. You just described a lot of people. A lot. And petty laws. You know why there's petty laws? Because they like making people into criminals so they can control people better. There's great ways of controlling people through debt. That's one way, or making someone a criminal when they're not a criminal, right? Making laws saying, oh, now these things that you were doing are now illegal. If you keep doing it, that's it. That's that society making laws. I mean, I believe in a lot of laws that, anything that victimizes people, hurts people, that type of thing, of course. But there's other laws. Look at the whole marijuana thing. Now they're making it legal everywhere. It's legal in New York State now and in a lot of other states. and they put people in the past in jail for a long time, especially out west. Look at Nevada; it's legal there. At one time, there was billboards driving into Nevada. One joint is equal to 20 years. 20 years. So it makes sense not to make everybody into a criminal. But yes, there are criminals out there. They need to be put away. Like New York City, it's becoming like Escape from New York type of thing. Here we go. Only a few more left. Balance personal rights with social duties. Now that I have a problem with. I'm not giving up my rights for anybody's social outrage, social justice, whatever. What I do is volunteer my time, and I try to help others in my daily life, and I do that type of thing. You do good works. You go out there, do good works, and you don't have to give up any of your personal rights for that. So, but there's elements out there that want people, okay, you should have less rights. The Pope says it all the time that people in America and Europe has had it too good, that we need to suffer, we don't understand what life is really, this, that, whatever. No, you know what? We're first world countries, and our parents and grandparents and their grandparents worked hard, built things, built these countries, built a way of life where we can have good things, that we can have a decent life, that we can be safe and not have to worry about a lot of those things. These other countries haven't gotten there yet because they're still steeped in corruption. And where is the Catholic Church? Oh, there's a big, beautiful Catholic Church in all those places, isn't there? Full of gold and jewels, isn't there? So maybe the temperance should go back to them instead of them dumping it on other people, right? And by the way, Americans give more than any other country to all causes across the world. So I will say that. Anyway, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. See, I can find that in the Tao Te Ching. I can find that in a lot of ancient writings on being in harmony with the infinite. That goes against the last line about balancing your personal rights with social duties. But and last but not least, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. So I'll say it like this. No, I don't find any of that to be satanic, right? None of it. But I do find people that say that it's satanic to be crazy, including that woman's running for governor. Really? Georgia's got a lot of problems, lot of problems. You know what I mean? Ugh. And it's very sad that you have so many people divided on these issues, and then you get nut jobs like that coming out yelling about Satan, and these they. So I mean, she basically all the negative rhetoric and that kind of talk, motivated someone out there to go out there and blow the thing up. It's been vandalized before. People have chipped away at it. They've spray painted it and done all kinds of stuff. If you build it, they will come. Right? Isn't that what it is? But now you have a world of let's tear the statue down, let's rip up this thing, let's rip up that flag, let's destroy history, which is what hey, that's what Hitler did, right? He kind of waltzed in there with the Nazis, and they were burning books and destroying history. They didn't want any young people to know the past. China does the same thing. You see how they downplayed Tiananmen Square, you know? And then you have these mass shootings here in the U.S. and people are spouting off about that. These people are all psychologically unhinged. I see nobody brings up the Mandalay Bay shooting. Oh, almost 300 people killed, right? And that guy went off and he was up there with all those guns and whatever. And I'll tell you, you people snap. They snap. And what I say about that guy, that you want answers that you may not get, you know, the guy's dead. You're not going to know what's going on in his head. And besides, what difference does it make? It's the fact that he did it. But they think that, oh, you take people's guns away and that's going to make people safe. It's the opposite. You take people's guns away, you're holding people more vulnerable, and there will always be illegal guns. So basically, you take the guns away from the people who will give them up, the innocent, regular old citizens out there who aren't criminals, but yet you're heavily arming the criminals, and then all the people that gave up their guns are being held vulnerable to the others. So you can't have one without the other, and people need to protect themselves. And it's also your civic duty There are other countries in years past. I said, you don't invade the United States of America, there'd be a gun behind every tree. Yeah. So you know what? It's part of it. And police officers out there will tell you that they feel better that the public is armed as long as those people aren't out of their minds crazy, losing their brain. You know? That dude who shot those people, I mean, he was a nutter. He was a nut job. He was, a risk. He had all of his knives taken away, threatened to kill his family a couple of years ago. He should not have had those guns. And that same guy, he would have gotten into his crap box car. They put pictures of that thing up, and he's got all kinds of shark teeth on there, or whatever. This dude, he called himself a rapper, right? I know it's like disrespectful to all rappers out there. This dude should not have had guns. He should have been in a mental ward. But yet, you also have the left that doesn't want to put people in mental wards, and they don't want to cycle people through the courts. And courts in a lot of places, these courts have a lot of programs that help people like that, and they monitor them without sending them away, and they monitor their medication and all that other stuff. This dude was nuts, plain and simple. Made threats. He was nuts. He went and killed innocent people, dressed as a woman. Went up there and killed innocent people, right? So when you see the killers, they're all about the same mentality, you know, and they all had, not maybe not 100% of them, like the Mandalay Bay. There was no telltale signs for that guy. He didn't, he played his cards close to his chest. He was a gambler, interestingly enough. He gave his wife a bunch of money to leave the country and leave the country and that type of thing. So he had in his mind what he was going to do, and the hotel let him up there with I don't know, over a dozen guns and all this ammo. I mean, the bellboy who helped him up should have noticed that, and security definitely should have noticed that, and whatever, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But yet, the only thing they knew about the guy is that he had some anxiety or whatever, and they gave him a Valium, basically, whatever the equivalent of Valium, which isn't any red flags. So with people like that, when they the ticking time bomb goes off, it goes off. But these other ones, these young ones, are bragging about it online to talk about what they're going to do and whatever. And now you're seeing the severity. But who's to blame in the situation? Is the person doing it, right? And they're going to do it however. They get into a truck and drive over 20 people and kill them, or they get into a car and drive over people and kill them, or set a place on fire, or whatever the hell they do is what they do. It doesn't have to be a gun. And they'll always be, you will never get rid of guns in the US. It'll be impossible. And like I said, there'll always be illegal guns. And if you know the streets, even remotely, you know that you can go there and if you got the cash, you'll walk away whatever you want, right? And that's the reality. These politicians don't go after illegal guns. Look at all these shooters. Look at New York City and Chicago and L.A. this last weekend for Fourth of July weekend and all that. All hundreds of shootings, murders, all that going on. And what are they saying? These politicians say we have to make guns harder to get for regular people. It's not the regular people that are going off. You might have one sometimes or two sometimes, something that makes them crazy. I was driving through Island Park on Long Island, and some guy in the station wagon looked over at me as I was driving, seeing traffic, and it looked like he was saying, "Why? Why?" And he was crying. Then the guy goes and careens his car into me. You know, he clipped me. And then he took off, and I chased him. I chased him all through Island Park. He was trying to lose me. He's going around corners and like hitting other cars and doing crazy stuff. And then finally, I found out where he lived, and I called the police and had them come. And the guy's wife had broke up with him, cheated on him, did all kinds of crazy stuff, and it made him nuts. And called him at work and said all these things and wanted him out. Yeah, people melt down. So you don't know why someone's having a bad day. The only thing you know is that you don't want their bad day to make you have a bad day and interfere with you. You kind of have to, okay, I'm on the railroad tracks. There's a train coming. I'm going to step off these tracks. I see you're setting up for your shot. I'm going to get out of your range. And then that's the only thing you can really do. Otherwise, you're going to be sacrificed to this machine. You're going to be a victim, and nobody cares. You know, in the city, this guy in the bodega fought off this ex-con, a violent ex-con who just got out of prison, who's trying to steal it from the guy. The guy stabbed him and he killed him. And then they charge a guy with murder and they put him in Rikers. You know, now they're lessening the charge because you got a DA that protects the criminals. Let the criminals go. And then when people protect themselves against these criminals, you put them in jail. That's crazy. So I'm going to leave you guys with that thought, and I'm out of here. I'll see you next week on the Red Pill News on United Public Radio Network, UPRN, talkradio.com. Adios. Gracias.